Hi there guys. Hey, this is just going to be a series of videos. I've been to the hospital for my pre-admission check for a spinal fusion, which is L4, L5 and S1. Now this is a few years in the waiting. I've had a discectomy where they trimmed my disc a number of years ago, and then I fell not long after that operation, which you shouldn't really do, obviously. But so this is probably 4 years in the waiting. I was supposed to have had it done by November last year, but COVID kind of put a hold on the hospital, pushed their waiting lists out. So I got a call probably about 3 weeks ago, saying that I'm on the list, on the surgical list. And so today I had to have my pre-surgical appointment, make sure that I'm healthy, check, might do an ECG. They've done an ECG on my heart, blood pressure, family history, what medication I'm taking, and so passed all that. So I had to do some bloods and a urine test today. I had to sign a consent form, of course, to the actual surgeon. If you look in the background, I'm actually in a really cool place. This Port Taranaki. There's the sun. You're not going to be able to see me shortly, maybe. And there's the port there. Awesome location. Just thought I'd come here to do the video because I think it's probably going to be a fair while before I get to stand on these very rocks that I'm standing on. Spent some time here fishing and all that, so quite a cool spot. Now the surgery takes place next week, 1st of April. When I got the call, I thought that would be a sick joke if it was an April Fool's joke, but no, she's definitely booked in. Possibly a morning operation, so can't eat after midnight, only clear fluids up until 6 AM. So but apparently the night before, the hospital will give me a call after 4 to tell me if I'm a morning or afternoon operation. Spoke with the surgeon because I have to obviously I have to sign the consent form. He asked me if I still wanted to go ahead with it. Yes, of course. And he said it'd be maybe 4.5 to 5 hour operation. Everything's done. They done CT scans and all that 8 months ago. So everything's all measured up, and said the curvature of my spine's good. So he's happy with that. So he's going to screw together L4, L5 and S1. Make up whatever they do, make up that bone mixture to make it grow bone as well. But I thought I'd do a pre-op video. Today's a good day, you know, my back's not sore, but there's days I shift, what they call a shift, and I'll be bent over to the right and locked there, and that can take anywhere between 5 to 8 days to be able to straighten up again. So the fusion's going to obviously stop that. Risks involved that I was told today obviously is if I get a blood clot in the lung, I can die. Obviously my surgery 6 or so years ago, 4 or 6 years ago, where they done the discectomy, everything was fine. But every time you have surgery, the risk gets greater. So the more surgeries you have, the more risk you've got of clotting, apparently. I'm fine under anaesthetic, so they're happy. What else was there? Yeah, so there's a risk that there could be a follow-on surgery the next day. Just obviously if something doesn't go right the first day. 4 to 5 days stay in hospital. But the main important of doing this series of videos of recovery is actually watching other people on YouTube through their recovery, and because it's so different between people, male, female, overweight, skinny, you know, it changes vastly. There's people that are up walking the next day unaided, there's people that take 8 days, there's people 6 months later they're struggling, people 12 months later struggling. So I think the more documentation that people can actually see of real life cases, and you know, specialists and surgeons and doctors and all that can give you an idea, but their ideas are sort of textbook ideas. You know, this is where it should be at. So I think if you want to follow this, I'll upload. Next upload won't be till after the surgery, I don't think. I'll upload this one maybe today or tomorrow, but I'll put it in a whatchamacallit, a group of videos so you can follow it. But just take this with a grain of salt. This is how I'm gonna heal. This is how I'll recover. Doesn't mean that it's gonna be the same for you. Your symptoms could be different than mine. Mine, I prolapsed the disc. They trimmed the disc. That was a discectomy, and then 12 weeks after that I fell on the surgery site, on the incision site, onto a like a profile of the side of the bath. That was only 12 weeks after the operation, so that re-prolapsed the disc. Not so bad, but it also obviously weakened another disc, so now my spine can shift. And so what that is the disc pushes out one side and you end up kinked over. Your symptoms might be completely different. Your symptoms might be just a prolapsed disc, or you know, maybe broken facets, or some whatever other reason you're going in for a spinal fusion. But recoveries are so much different between people than what it is on a textbook. So I encourage you to just subscribe so that you can keep up with these updates and follow my journey to recovery. See, my surgeon said it could take up to 2 years for the bone to really take place. And you read in, you know, in textbooks, you know, you read online, you search, Google it, and you start reading papers and all that, and they say 3 months and the bone's grafted, you know, within reason. But so my surgeon said they could be up to 2 years. Obviously no bending, twisting, lifting and all that for the first 6 weeks, because the bone's got to take. There's always that risk that the bone won't take. There's a risk that the hardware's got to come out later on in life, which I've seen some people, they've gone through, you know, got 6-8 months and the hardware's had to come out. But apparently that surgery is pretty straightforward. So come along with me on this journey. I won't be doing probably be a while before I'll be back in this place doing a post, because I've got to climb down those rocks. And yeah, so come along, see how I heal, and it'll give you a better understanding. The more people you watch, I encourage you to go watch more people if you're going to go through the same surgery. It really helped me make the decision today. You know, the surgeon said, do you still want to go ahead with it? And because of the information that's out there, because of other people like myself that have decided to post up these videos, it's really helped me make that decision. A lot of people, and the consensus is that the first 2 weeks is the worst, but I'm looking beyond that. You know, they say the first 2 weeks is the worst pain they've ever experienced, but it's about looking beyond that. And if it's 2 weeks of the worst pain that I've ever experienced, and then it gradually getting better to the point of not there, that's far better of a lifetime of struggling with back issues. I'm a diesel mechanic by trade, so you know, my everyday life isn't easy. I've got young children, got one at college, one at intermediate, one at primary, one at early childhood, one still at home, and one cooking. So one still being prepared to be born. So you know, it's a very active lifestyle that I lead. Mind you, when I get home after work, I'm too tired because of the pain to be able to enjoy my life and to be able to do the things that I should be doing with my children. I used to spend a lot of time out here fishing in this port here, but it's kind of had to go to a stop because of the pain afterwards. I ride a motorcycle. Actually got myself a Harley Davidson Switchback just 2 weeks ago, and next week I'm not going to be able to ride it for a little while. So you know, I want to get past that, look past that 2 weeks, for the fact that I've still got motorcycles to ride, I've still got kids to grow up with, I've still got a wife and a home to look after. So, and I'm 40, so you know, not the youngest spinal fusion, but it's not the most common age either. You know, a lot of people are getting spinal fusions up into their 50s and all that. So I've got a fair few years ahead of me that I've got to look after. And when I was asked if I still want it, there was no doubt. You know, this is what I've really got to do, because when my spine shifts, you can get to a really low point in life because you can't do anything. You got exercises to bring it back, but until the shift comes back, you're almost paralyzed to that pain, to that restriction. You're governed by what you can do just because of that shift. If 2 weeks of excruciating pain can get rid of that, well, then I no longer have to be governed by what my back might do. You know, there's a lot of things that I can't do in the fear that my back will shift, just because of that fear in the back of my mind. Now, it doesn't mean go stupid, get the fusion and go be an extreme sports person. Clearly I'm not built for that, but it's about getting normality back, being able to go out and enjoy a whole day's fishing, or being able to go out on a boat, you know, and not come back and be crippled for 8 days or 12 days, or, you know, if you're lucky, 4 days. So once again, please, you know, subscribe to this and get as much information inside you as possible. I don't know what the future's going to be. I don't know what it's going to be like when I wake up, but all I can say is that hopefully it's just hope that I've made the best decision, you know, and a bit of faith that that it is the best decision, because you get into this little box, and the problem is that you can't see yourself out. You can't see your way out of this box, especially when you're in real bad pain. That painkillers aren't doing anything, and you know, maybe the first 2 weeks is like that, but there's that light at the end of the tunnel that's going to get closer and closer and closer. I'm really praying for 6 weeks to be back and mobile. I obviously won't be back at work in full duties in 6 weeks, but you know, I'm really hoping and praying and just really putting a lot of faith in there that it's within this 12 months that everything runs smoothly. Of course, risks involved, and it's just a matter of slowing down life for this next maybe 12 months, you know, 8-12 months, whatever it takes, because there's a lifetime ahead of me, as there will be a lifetime ahead of you. So yeah, that'll be my video for today. I'm just really looking out there. I don't know if you can see, but you probably can't see, but right there, that ship there, they're dredging the channel. For those of you that don't know Taranaki Port, it's the old chimney stack that's coming down one day, Paratutu Rock, and all of that there is logs. That's the main stuff that comes out of our port, and in there is fish, if you're lucky enough to catch them. And over here, just watching people dive. Hang on, I'll just watch where I'm stepping. But I do a lot of diving around here too. Now, just off the corner of these rocks here, just around there, within reach of the rocks almost, I just about drowned maybe about 8 weeks ago. Oh, probably a bit more than that. But I cramped up in my left leg, and you see, the problem with my spinal injury is it affects my left leg, so I couldn't pull the cramp out. Usually you can pull your flipper up, grab the end of the flipper and you pull it up towards you, and you pull the cramp out. I was just in a hole just too deep to be able to touch the bottom, so I was sort of gasping for air. I flicked my weight belt off, and my mate, actually, he was diving probably just about there, ready to shoot down this wall here, shoot along here, and he would have been out of earshot, and I just yelled out at the right time, and he turned around and he had a look, and he thought that a stingray had got me, and so I thought that he would hold off for a moment. No point in two people getting thrashed about. And then I yelled out cramp, and he hightailed it over to me, and his catch bag's got a little inflatable tube on it, and gave it to me probably probably at the point of my last breath. And then he swam me about the 6 meters that I was off the rocks. You know, it's ironic, and we dive all the time, but little things like that, it actually woke us up. Now my mate dives with a dive belt that had a pin lock buckle, you know, like a normal belt buckle. Since that day, he's never dived with that again. He's gone to the quick release like what I had. If I didn't have that quick release buckle belt, I would have been dead probably. Would have been a write up in the paper, 40-year-old man dies 6 meters from the shore. But that's the sort of stuff that I had to give up because of my back. Or that I didn't give it up, sorry. That's the sort of stuff that heightens the risk. If I was out on my own, like I dived regularly on my own, never again, I must say, we will never dive again alone. But regularly I would. I wouldn't have gone home that night, all because of this injury. Now, if I can get back to normality and actually have the strength back in my left leg to be able to get yourself out of just a little minuscule situation like that, you know, a little bit of a cramp, and I was basically a sitting duck in water, really, or a sinking duck in water. So yeah, they're the big choices that helped me say yes, I'm gonna go ahead with it. But I'm saying these divers, you probably can't see. I can't even point them out. But anyway, there's some people diving. You get paua in here if you're not from here. Kinners. If you're not from New Zealand, paua is, I suppose you'd call it abalone maybe. It's Blackfoot paua here. Kinners, I think most of the world knows what kinners are, but you know, taranaki for seafood, for shellfish and all that. We've got the best tasting in New Zealand. People, and a lot of people will agree with you on that. Our legal size is 85mm for paua, but rest of New Zealand's 125, so that's not because we're greedy, it's because they don't grow big here, but they're sweeter. But enough of that. That's what my life used to consist of regularly: diving, fishing, motorcycle riding. It's really the fishing that took a back burner. The diving, you know, because I just about died not so long ago. Motorcycle riding, I haven't stopped. You know, we all ride because we love to. Unfortunately, the price to pay can sometimes be, you know, a locked up spine, or you get to your destination and you're just in excruciating pain. You can't wait to get home. So, other things that I want to get back to normal, and also being able to get home from work and not exhausted from pain. I want to get home from work and enjoy evenings with my kids. Obviously, you know, kids want a dad, kids want an active dad, and so yeah, I think that's about me. I've rambled on quite a bit. Obviously, I'm just in awe of this awesome day. You know, down in here, just looking down, just down on the water here, there's a heap of bait fish. You know, it'd be good to have a rod out now, catch some John Dories, or be lucky if you catch a kingfish, or you know, a kahawai or something. Just nice to take something home for feed. But that ain't happening today. But I thought I'd come here, indulge in this scenery for a little bit, do this quick video, which has ended up being over 18 minutes long. I'm not going to edit it. It is what it is, and you're going to get what it is, truth, and whatever comes out of my mouth. Sometimes it'll be rambling and sometimes it won't be, but yeah, that's me, Spinal Fusion. This time next week, what's our time? 3. If I'm a morning operation, I just gotta watch where I'm stepping. This time next week, if I'm a morning operation, I'll be awake. Probably get my wife to record, because I'll probably be that doped up on painkillers that I won't be able to find the record button. But all jokes aside, it's a real thing, this. It is a major surgery, they say. If I'm an afternoon surgery, I'm probably going to be still under this time this week. So until next time, sometime next week, I'll upload from the hospital maybe. We'll see what happens. Try to keep them fast and quick. You know, record them, upload them, record them, upload them. Otherwise, if I spend time editing them, it'll take me weeks to get videos uploaded. So please, if you're thinking about the surgery, stay tuned and keep keep a watch out for my updates, because the more information, the more of an informed decision you can make for yourself. Not for me, but for yourself. So until then, keep safe, eh?